One, two, three.
Turn it up.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Simply Cyber Firesides. We got a banger for you today. We are going to be joined by one of my favorite people in the industry. I got to spend a little bit of time with him at Black Hat. He's a real cybersecurity hero. He helps lots of people. We will get into some stories. I even read a blog post that he just released earlier today that I hope we can get into that has to deal with the struggle and the reality of working in cybersecurity. It is a lifestyle. It is a commitment that you make. And sometimes there's, costs associated with that. And many industries, many professions have these similar costs, these, self giving of yourself, and how they handle it and how we handle it. So Joe and I had an amazing talk in the green room. We're going to be bringing him on. He's an innovator. He's a mentor. He is helping people save lives literally across the world in different capacities, not just like, oh yeah, like he clacks on a keyboard. No, like he is really doing work that involves war-torn areas, NGOs, things that have to do with food and access to food, wild stuff. He has extensive experience in the critical infrastructure and industrial control system space as well. He is an ICS OT pro. He has been on the channel before. We did an interview with him 2 years ago at Black Hat that many of you loved. You may not remember him until you see him, but you will remember his voice. He's got that rich, deep baritone voice. Now, he's worked on projects that have literally helped stabilize a country's power grid during a time of conflict. He's known for his work in helping humanitarian organizations stay cyber secure. His background, with a background that includes designing and administering one of the nation's first secure non-classified information sharing networks. He's an expert in the field. Ladies and gentlemen, get your questions ready, get comfortable, because you are absolutely going to love this conversation with my friend, Joe Marshall. Let's go get Joe. All right, Joe, what's up, dude?
What up, my dude?
So you may have heard me play Sweet Home Alabama on the way into the show. There was a reason for that, and I saw Joe tapping his head there in the green room. So, Joe, you're from Alabama, right? So a lot of pride in that.
Man, I am from the sticks. I am from a small town in Alabama that's inside of another even smaller town in Alabama. Good luck finding it on a map. It's called Bromley, Alabama, is where I grew up, but it's in a much larger, by population 5,000 ish, maybe not even that now. Called Bay Minette, which is right in Baldwin County, right on the Gulf Coast, out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, man. So I play the banjo.
Dollar General in this town?
Yeah, the one every 5 miles, and there's a Waffle House every 3. So this podcast brought to you by Waffle House.
Yeah, we're looking for the sponsors, Waffle House. So if you want to get in there, come on down. So let me ask you, I mean, if you growing up in a small town, I mean, one of the knocks about that is you don't have access to resources and opportunities. A lot of people in the small town all work at the same mill or all work at the same employer and stuff like that. How are you getting out of this small town? Did you join the military or something, or?
No, dumb luck. Although honestly, like a lot of people in my community did serve. So we'll have to go back to hallowed antiquity. All right. So like 1998 ish. A lot of my buddies were getting IT contractor gigs, and they were making really good money, like with no college education. And they're like, dude, you got to get into this. And so they got me into contractor IT work, which would then lead me, which is a wild story in of itself. We don't have the time for it probably. Which would then lead me into defense contracting, because Naval Air Station Pensacola is not far from where I grew up. And then from there, friends in Mobile, which is the big town that I had a lot of family in near on the Gulf Coast, were like, hey, we need a cleared guy up here in Maryland. So I ended up in 2005 moving to Maryland to do classified IT work. Went to go work for DoD after that, and then ended up in the utility space and then at Talos. So it just kind of linearly dragged me up through the IT contractor. I started off as a sysadmin. I was never but like back in the day, like there wasn't like cybersecurity as a profession didn't really exist in the way that you and I, the way it does now, right? So like, just about everybody started off in sysadmin work of some kind, IT of some kind.
Yeah.
And you sort of organically found cybersecurity, or it found you.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, I mean, that is interesting. And it is kind of funny when you just say yes or lean into an opportunity instead of just staying with what's comfortable, kind of where that career can take you. One of the things I mentioned on the intro, everybody, and we do have some people, Casually Joseph, who is an avid guitar player. It was Yell and Play Freebird. A lot of people happy with the banjo, Joe. We were talking, I said, and this is one of those things that I believe, that cybersecurity is a lifestyle. It is a job, like 9 to 5 or whatever, but it to me, like the people who stay in cybersecurity, they're like into cybersecurity. It's not just a kind of a 9 to 5 gig. Go ahead. Yeah. So, I mean, would you agree with that? I suppose do you identify it as kind of a lifestyle, or do you see that as a misnomer?
No, it's so my perspective is skewed, and I'll tell you why my perspective is skewed. Everyone that works at where I work at Talos, this is this threat intel organization. Some have heard of. It's not that big deal. Anyone who's here wants to be here, and if you want to be here, you worked really hard to get here. So you're surrounded by a lot of energy and a lot of people who love the career space, love the profession, like fighting the good fight and helping people, right? So that's it's a hyper concentration of nerds. So, but like I've worked corporate security outside of this organization, and for I'd say half of them, it was kind of like just a day gig, like maybe they were, and this is not a shot at a specific career path, but like GRC people who were like, they had a pretty good job. They did a pretty good job of turning off at 5 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But our 24/7 security operations center, and this was when I was working in the utility space, like those guys and gals were locked in 24/7. Frankly, not a healthy habit to have. But like it's these different career paths bring you in different ways. And then you find some people that are no matter where you are in the career space, they're always locked in. Either they're at home hacking something, they're one of those I call them the mesh-tastic nerds. Like they're assembling radios to talk to the International Space Station because that's cool. And like so, I don't really want to like pigeonhole anybody too much. But certainly here, I would say we're pretty hardcore. And honestly, if I didn't love what I do, I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, I love cybersecurity. I have done Blue and stuff. My career did take me to GRC just because of the opportunities that were afforded me. But I loved it. But so as it's a lifestyle, as I mentioned, I wanted to point out. So Joe published this blog post earlier today. I guess he knew that he was coming on Simply Cyber Firesides, so he was going to bring the heat with a with a blog post. So he put this post together, and I'm going to drop a link to it in chat so everybody can check it out. Okay. And it's called Put Together an IR Playbook for Your Personal Mental Health and Well-Being. And basically, what Joe goes through here is how he was part of a team that was responding to a very, very serious threat, one that Sandworm was behind, which is like a very, very effective Russian-based threat actor. And, basically how they were racing against the clock in order to try to unmask all these things. But at the same time, there's a ticking time bomb because there's a human on the other end of it, basically deciding when they're going to do their thing. So, Joe, can you talk about, like, I guess, let me ask you this. What inspired you to want to publish this? And I want to preface it for those who don't know, and Joe and I were talking about this, the discussion around mental health, the discussion around like taking care of yourself, the discussion of having boundaries is a relatively new concept that's like socially acceptable. If you were to talk like this in 2005, you'd have been blown out of the office, basically. So I personally love the fact that this is now normalized. Thank you, Joe, for continuing to push this normalization of it. can you talk to us about what inspired you to write this blog post?
Yeah, no problem. This is a toughie. So we have where I work, we have like these morale and spirit days, and it's because so many of us work from home, but we have a really nice office here in Fulton, Maryland. So we make a concentrated effort to get the crew together 1 or 2 days out of the month for sure. We have lunch, sit at a big table. We have a massive lunch table that we all sit at, have a great time. And we were talking about sort of like the current political climate, and we were talking about like the career space. We were just talking about sort of the hot mess that is kind of the world we're living in right now. And it just put a bug in my head, and something triggered me. I hate to say it, some kind of trauma trigger happened where I was suddenly whisked away back to 2018 or 2019 whenever I think it's 18 is when VPN filter dropped. And I was just thinking of that really hard time on my organization and on me personally. And I was like, because so the way we work and for these newsletters is that there's a team of outreach guys and gals who we do top of mind, but we can really talk about anything we want to talk about. We can do whatever the hell we want. And we also want to highlight the cool work we're doing. And we want to talk about like the top SHA samples we saw. It's like a public service. And so I have this editorial snippet, and I could talk about whatever I want. I could talk about how I'm playing Borderlands 4 right now and enjoying the hell out of it. I could talk about, the comparative, different types of bananas that exist in the world. I'm also a banana expert. Don't ask me how I know that, but I am a banana guy. I can talk about whatever I want. But I try to orient towards something about like cyberish,
Yeah, sure.
And one of the things that I've been stewing on for a while was, how do you take care of yourself in this space? Because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I do a pretty shit job of it. Like I'm just not doing great. But I've learned some hard lessons, and I was like, if somebody can learn from my pain and learn from, just learn from my experiences.
Yeah.
Then let's pay it forward to other practitioners in this space, or anyone really and truly. I don't think this is unique. We were talking about this. This is not necessarily unique to cybersecurity. Yeah. So it is just. I was like, and as I started to go, because I always have writer's block. I can write except on a deadline. Like if you tell me, Joe, I need this by tomorrow, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, what am I gonna write?
No.
But if you give me enough runway, I'll eventually kind of agonize over it and figure it out. So I was like, you know what, we're doing it, and I just started typing, and it just kind of came pouring out of me, and ended up with this. And by the way, who am I playing in Borderlands? I'm playing Rafa, Exo Soldier, but I'm doing the gun turret build on him. It's really great.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, see, and that's probably one way to help facilitate.
Yeah.
Mental health, right? Taking care of yourself. Like you said here, step 3, unplug self-care.
Yeah, put down the hell rectangle that is your phone. Get off social media. Get out of your echo chamber. Go, like I just say it. Go touch grass, nerds. Like just get away from this. So let me tell the story of VPN filter. All right, because this is still a wild story to me. All right, so and we were working this really, really hard issue with VPN filter. And when you realize the enormity of something in the threat intelligence space, when you're sitting on something that no one else knows about, right? This is a big deal. And you are just saying to yourself, oh God, this is big. Like, you know it when you see it, right? And your colleagues know it when you see it. And you get read into this thing and you're like, well, what are we going to do about this? And you're like, this is why we got into this space. This is the reason, man. Getting something like this, you're like, hell yeah, let's go. And you're all wired for it. And everyone hits, we're all gas, no brakes, right? It's not sustainable, right? But the option to quit or retreat is just not an option as well, right? So like when we started to work the VPN filter project, when we knew this was going to be we later attributed, or the FBI would attribute it to Sandworm. But we knew this was nation state tradecraft, like of a rare caliber, like, you know it when you see it, right? Yeah. And we were like, and then when we found the kill switch, and when we found the persistence mechanisms built into this botnet, we were like, and that there was an OC, there was an ICS OT component to it for intercepting Modbus traffic. So there was a module for it. Like they had clearly thought this thing very meticulously out. And we were like, oh shit, like this is huge. And the more we peeled back, the bigger it got. And we were like, wow, this is really big. And then when we looked at the infection spread, when we looked at the infrastructure, the photo bucket, like the way they had tied it all together, we were like, this is, game knows game. And these guys had game. But the problem with that is that if we screwed up, there was a destroy mechanism inside of the botnet, a kill switch. It would overwrite the first, I think, 5,000 bytes of dev zero on the Soho device, and it would break the device. So like when we're talking hundreds of thousands, my personal opinion, well into millions and millions of devices. And we don't know where those devices sit. Could be in a hospital, could be a school, could be, we don't know, right? And without knowing the impact of it, we were like, so don't screw this up, right? As the days became weeks and the weeks became months, and we brought more and more researchers into this with specific expertise, with specific thoughts. The hours grew later, and I don't know when it happened, but it got really toxic. People were picking new ways to be assholes to one another. And you could just see the stress was just melting us.
Yeah.
Because we were in a permanent holding pattern of what do we do? And we had theorized that, like, if we see the adversary doing some real shady, aggressive stuff to protect people, we have a break glass scenario of we're going to have to initiate countermeasures and announce to the world, hey, this is a thing. And we're going to have to, and we agreed, they might burn it. They might hit the kill switch at that point. But sometimes inaction is also action. And we didn't want to put anybody in a bad position because we still had a lot of research questions, the infection mechanisms, the exploits being used. There were so many things we just didn't know, and we were slowly uncovering them. But we have to protect people first. That's the overarching priority. And when we saw that massive infection spike, we we're like, yeah, this is it. This is something that we just can't sit on. We have to be able to announce and protect people. And in retrospect, it was a mercy that happened because we could put this thing to bed. But the damage had been done, like, especially for me personally, with relationships with my directs at the time, with leadership amongst my peer groups and their peer groups, because like there's a finite limit that can exist, and like your cup becomes very full, and when something pours in, something else has to pour out, and that thing that can pour out can be toxicity. It could be it could damage your personal relationships outside of your career space. It can be physical health, like blood pressure, stress. Like if you don't have effective management mechanisms for that in this space, like you don't know how to respond to that massive cortisol buildup in your body, that adrenaline, of whatever. And like it went very poorly for me, extremely poorly for me. I would leave people leadership. I would go to be an individual contributor. That was 6 years ago, I think. And I still think about it like every so often now I landed on my feet very well, and I'm not in any way, like, I'm not reminiscing on the bad things of the past ever forward. That's my philosophy. But we as humans can't help but be a little nostalgic and think about where we were and how we got to where we are. I think that's just normal, it's incumbent upon me, especially because I do a lot of mentorship work, to share these lessons with others, and that someone else could read my words and go, I've been there. I've seen this. I know what this looks like. I've experienced this, or I saw this and I said, I read something that Joe wrote and I went, oh shit, I think this is the exact same thing. And you say to yourself, like, please learn from my pain. And if, like, I say this all the time, but in cybersecurity, if you're just 1% smarter today than you were yesterday, man, that's a win. Take it, right? Because this is a hard business. It's deep, it's technical, it's hard, it's complex, it's all kinds of stuff. And that's kind of why I wrote this. And I wrote it from like a really raw and a really real place, because it came at a deep personal cost to me. But my story is not unique. Like, it's really not. Like, someone in the chat mentioned that there was a suicide in a security operations center, a 24/7 SOC. Like, and this is the truth about cybersecurity in general, right? And I say this and I write this down. There's always a breach. There's always a hack. Someone is always getting pwned. There's always something. It never, ever stops, ever, right? In a way that calls to us, because that's why we got into this, is to fight the good fight. That's what we do. That's why we are. That's why we love what we do, right? But like, if you can't enforce healthy mechanisms into your life, into your career to control that, it will eat you alive, and it will damage you. It will damage your relationships. Like, you have to think about, what do I do to establish and protect my boundaries, my own mental, personal well-being? You got to figure it out. And I unfortunately figured it out the hard way. So, yeah.
Well, and I mean, I appreciate that you wrote this blog post, because that's how you reach people, right? That's how you get the message out. And I'm not happy that you had to experience this, Joe, but a couple things. One, I'm always somebody who tries to find the silver lining or the positive, right? Like, if you fail, it's not a fail. It's a learning opportunity, right? Like, oh, okay. Like I understand why I failed in that instance. So by you doing this, or for anyone in chat who's experienced, some of these like burnout situations or being pushed too far, I feel like it empowers you to have empathy for individuals who see it. It almost gives you like a bit of a perspective to truly understand it. So then you can see it, you can intervene, you can help, you can, even share. Sometimes people just want to share, what they're dealing with, you know what I mean? And just talk. So I appreciate that, Joe. It really helps. Now, Joe, in his blog post here that we're talking about, actually provides a couple recommendations. And I love this. I'd like to go through them, because like, hearing your story of how it happened is important, but like you said, ever forward, Joe, right? So you had 4 recommendations here: learn and enforce boundaries, right? So what do you like? And it's your number 1. So, and also you put do it guilt-free, which I think is a really hard thing for people to do. Can you talk about like this learn and enforce boundaries recommendation?
Yeah. So one of the things, maybe to the detriment sometimes of my coworkers, is that if you DM me on WebEx after a certain time, I'm going to get back to you the next day. I'm not responding to that. If it's 6 o'clock in the evening or 8 o'clock at night, short of an actual honest to God emergency, nah, that's not happening. Right?
We're good.
Yeah, we're good. Like we'll get to you when we get to you. I'm in my personal time right now. Deuces, right? Unless I'm super mega bored, but that is whatever. Just because a security operations center is 24/7 doesn't mean you are as well. Right? You have to think about ways to where, and this is super hard because there is this always connected. I'm always in Slack. I'm always in Discord. I'm always in WebEx or Teams or whatever. Hey, did you see this telemetry hit? I think we've got a snort rule that's FPing. I don't know what's going on with it. And the question I have is, why are you working 8 o'clock at night? The second is, why are you bothering me at 8:30 at night? Yeah. So but the problem is like, sometimes we're wired that way. Like, sometimes the tiz is strong and you're just wired in and you're like, this is my shit. I love this. Let's go. And you're like, but really? Like, you really can't do that. And one of the things, and this is skipping ahead a little bit on number 4, and this is really for you have to have people leaders that can recognize that and go, no. Because that's something I failed hard at this. Some of this is training, because you need to be able to recognize burnout in yourself, but also in the people you're responsible for, right? So you need to be able to look at somebody. Are they acting erratically? God forbid, is there some kind of drama or blow up? Like what's going on with this person? Is it their workload? Is it their personal life? Like something has clearly altered the chemistry inside of them, and there's bleed over into the professionalism of the workspace, and you have to be able to recognize that. Like, and that takes some training, and also maybe running into a few landmines yourself to go, oh crap, like I've seen this before. And then you need to be able to push that person with hopefully mechanisms you control, like company wise of, yeah, you're on vacation for the next 2 weeks. If I see you on WebEx, I'm just going to disable your account. You're not going to have you're cut off, right? I'll see you in 2 weeks. Go away. Or at a minimum, rotate them into somewhere where it's low stakes, no stakes. You can just coast, come in late, sleep to noon. I don't give a crap. Like just take a break, right? Incident response actually does this really well. At least Talos IR, my friends in Talos IR, like, because they'll have, if they're working an incident, they'll rotate analysts in and out of cases. Like we'll work 8 hours. It's somewhere else in the world. A new analyst steps in. They do a graceful handoff. That analyst, the Oscar Mikes, he's out. So that the new analyst comes in with fresh perspectives, fresh appearance, well rested, and is not dialed in, because in IRs, even for the responders, is super stressful. So like they kind of figured that out to resolve the emergency. But the thing about it, the insidious thing about burnout, the insidious thing about it is that it's not like it just happens over one day, right? It's typically it's a long pathology of, like we did with VPN filter, where one day in February we're starting this, and now we're in early May, and you realize you've been doing this over 90 days. And A, where did the time go? And B, why is this guy acting so strange? Or what's going on here? I don't understand. And if you're not trained and you're not cognizant of recognizing the signs, and that comes from your bosses as well, so it's top down 100%. Then you're not going to know how to respond to it, treat it, deal with it, and what mechanisms you have to promote healthy behaviors and be able to help people, because that's really what it's about. Because those directs are working hard for you, and they're working hard on the mission. But look, ain't nothing in this job worth your personal health. So like you really need to be able to do that.
Well, 100%. And, so I want to pull up a little bit and have some fun too. So getting your personal health, whether either it's like a micro vacation, so, you're off at 8 and you're doing something you enjoy, like painting, gardening, playing the banjo, or it's like a 2-week vacation where you're going somewhere and doing those things. Everybody's got their own thing, right? So there's no prescription. It's not like, all right, here's your banjo. I'll see you on Monday. Feel relaxed, right? So you already mentioned Borderlands. You've mentioned banjo. I guess what is Joe doing? And is there an actual like ICS OT vibe? Like, do ICS OT people typically tend towards stringed instruments, or is it, you know what I mean? Or is that just a Joe thing?
I mean, maybe. Look, I'm going to say this right now. If any of my OT friends and colleagues, so McQuiggan, I know you're out here somewhere, or whomever, if you play the mandolin or the fiddle or whatever, we're making an OT ICS bluegrass band. It's happening. Bring your shit to S4. Let's go. I'll bring my banjo.
Yeah.
We'll throw down. So I don't really know. It's a great question, actually. It's really weird. Like we have, so like if cybersecurity is a niche community, like OT ICS is even more niche. It's more like compact, right?
Yeah.
And so we know of each other, or we've encountered other practitioners at conferences, so on and so on. And I've never noticed a trend for any specific cool hobby other than OT people and ICS people are, I think, in my opinion, a lot more pragmatic about like technical and political implementations of controls and skills and abilities, because typically we're talking about physical things and often life and death stuff. So like you have to, there's a little bit of that, but that's about it. I don't know if I quite answered the question, but I feel like I got there pretty good.
No, I was just curious. I mean, I got to tell you, within the Simply Cyber community, I'm particularly excited because Battlefield 6 is coming out soon, and there's been a lot of talk in the community. Like we're actually going to like clan up. And
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. So, so then you can actually play it with, friends, and kind of have that, extended support. So it's not just talking about cybersecurity all the time. And I feel like that's where you build those relationships, is when you go beyond just kind of the nuts and bolts of like the work itself.
It is a, find your tribe, find your vibe sort of thing where you know your people,
Yeah.
and you've got good positive vibes and a supporting community. Just throw down with it.
Oh, Jared Rodriguez asks a great question, because this is a direction I wanted to take the conversation. And plus, by the way, I didn't say it in the intro, but I want everyone to know, if you have questions, this is supposed to be an interactive, engaging program. So drop them in chat with a Q. I see one from Maxwell as well. So, Joe, I usually see you at conferences. You go to many conferences. It looks like Jared's interested in ICS OT specifically, maybe getting into it, getting some exposure. What do you recommend? I know S4 is a popular one, but it might not. I don't know if it's good for beginners. Like, what do you say for Jared?
So it's great for beginners. It's great for any practitioner of any stripe or subject matter expertise, from GRC to technical implementation to wherever you are. The problem with S4 is it's expensive because it's in Miami Beach. This is last year it's there. Hotels are expensive. It's tough to do it on a budget, is what I'm getting at. But it is a superb conference. Superb. I think next year's S4 will be back in Tampa, and I think that was much more reasonably priced. And that's not a shot at Dale or S4 or anything like that. It's just the reality of, you got to pay for airfare, you got to get a hotel, you got to pay for the conference ticket. Like it adds up. It really does. So ICS Atlanta, put on by, I think, Security Weekly magazine, is a pretty good, solid one. There's a B-sides ICS that typically is the day before S4. So if you only did that, that would probably be all right. It's just a one-day thing. Any ICS village at any major conference is phenomenal. So if you're at Black Hat DEF CON, but if you're at Hack the Capitol, or it has a different name now, or if you're at any place where you see the ICS village, go. Like that's a village you want to spend time in, because I know the guys and gals that run that, and they are A+ practitioners and wonderful human beings, to be honest with you. And they're going to have really cool things that you can hack and noodle on and mess around with, like a simulated nuclear power plant, or they've done some really wild stuff. And also, like, if you're like, I remember this year, like the ICS village was a stone's throw from the Maritime Village at DEF CON, and they share a lot of sort of commonality in architecture and things like that. And that was wild. I loved it. It was both. By the way, Maritime Village this year was phenomenal. Like they went next level with the stuff they pulled off. So, so that would be my thoughts for pure ICS, like pure, like,
Yeah.
But a lot of conferences like Wild West Hack and Fest, or ThoughtCon, or any of the local B-sides might have a ICS component or a talk or a village. And maybe it's not the sole focus of the conference, but if someone's giving a talk on it, go. Like, absolutely. Like, look at the agenda, find some time and go. Because keep in mind, like, ICS OT is niche. So there's a much broader InfoSec community that exists in that space.
Yeah. What did they change Hack the Capitol to?
Oh gosh. The ISC guys rebranded it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No. It's a good one. Critical Effect. That's what it's called now. Sorry. If Bryson sees us, I'm sorry I got that name wrong.
No, it's all right. It's all right. He had his conference yesterday, and I was one of his speakers. So like we're good here. We've got political capital here. Couple of questions here. Maxwell, he wants to know. So basically, I'm going to rephrase this. He's doing some stuff with ICS OT. He wants your thoughts on going with a company versus doing consulting. Wow. And I'm not sure if you've ever done consulting, but you certainly have worked with, well, I guess maybe what you do is consulting, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, in-house versus consulting.
So wherever you can get work is my answer there. It's not, if you have a option to choose, you are in a blessed perspective and world, and more power to you. I am happy for you. That's fantastic. Keep in mind this. So I've worked for an actual electric utility, and my careabouts are different from when a consultant walks in, because a consultant does the gig, goes on to the next thing. Consultants get exposed to just a vast variety of customers and scenarios, from oil and gas to water, power, manufacturing, maybe even really exotic stuff like aviation or any kind of transpo logistics stuff. a lot of it uses the same tech. It's just architected in unique ways for the business imperatives of the customer that you're assisting with, right? Whereas an electric utility that I worked at for a couple of years, like our daily bread was more or less the same, right? It's service delivery, safety to our customers and our line workers, and to deliver value to the business. So like those were our imperatives. And of course, I worked for a utility that did oil and gas and electricity, so it was relatively complex. Plus a massive smart meter, AMI is what we call that, advanced metering infrastructure network that we had to manage as well. So there was no shortage of things to just get involved in and learn a lot about as well. So like if you can get offers for both, I don't know, pick the one that sounds the most fun and is gonna really put you out of your comfort zone and let you learn and grow.
There you go. Thank you, Joe and Maxwell. We got a James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet sighting with a super chat. Thanks, James. My man, Joe, so good to see you. Greetings from Lancaster, PA.
What's up, my brother?
Joe, I don't know if you know this, but James McQuiggan is like a staple in the Simply Cyber community. Yeah. And his name is James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet because he's more often in seat 3B of a Delta plane than he is at his desk when he's tuning into the show. So he's gotten that moniker on that.
Also, his dad joke game is extremely strong.
Oh my God. Yeah. We actually, I do a live show every morning, right? Fridays at the mid-roll is James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet, dad joke of the week. And he's been doing it for probably, I don't know, James, like 2 years now. He's got a little promo card and everything. It's his thing.
Yep. It is. I aspire to have his dad joke prowess. It's really good.
Oh my God. You just have to download his database of jokes, right? You've seen that shirt, I'm sure.
Yeah. I almost spit coffee everywhere. So that was really good.
I love it. All right. Hey, so you kind of were dunking on GRC earlier. That's okay. No harm.
I wasn't dunking. Come on, man.
How is ICS OT similar to GRC? Joe, any thoughts on how you might draw a line there?
GRC, so like in the IT/OT space, like GRC is a huge thing because like if you're working for a regulated utility, you've got NERC, FERC, if you're oil and gas is not quite as regulated, but you still want to comply with state standards for making sure you're obeying the laws of that state for safety reasons. Like a good example would be like if I'm doing oil and gas and I have a transmission pipe and I'm buying gas from a midstream distributor, but they have to put additives in the gas for Maryland, but take the additives out for Virginia or something like that. Like it's deep. It's super duper deep. And I was always grateful at my practitioner level that I never had to eat that dog food because it made my brain hurt. And I was always grateful that we had a small platoon of GRC people who had encyclopedic knowledge of every single, either from Sarbanes-Oxley all the way to any NERC or FERC standard, and they went to all the RFI conferences. They were on 1,000,001 meetings, and they did a really good thing with all of our legal department as well to make sure that we were sort of obeying the laws of the land, so to speak. And I was grateful for their presence, and in fact, I just didn't have to touch it unless it was, hey, we're out of compliance or we need to get an audit done. And at that point in time, I loved working with them, but you could not have paid me enough money to do that job. My ADD would have triggered so hard, I would have folded in like a black hole and just disappeared. I was like, nope, not for me. So I have mad respect for GRC people because, frankly, they keep us out of trouble, and I'm all for that life, especially when you work in a pretty heavily regulated industry like power. Because keep in mind this: when you're buying power from a utility, it's an established monopoly, right? It's not like you have a massive market of choices to go to. I live in Baltimore, so it's Baltimore Gas and Electric, right? So these established state regulated monopolies have a lot of rules of the road they have to follow, from Public Service Commission responsibilities to federal responsibilities, on top of all the usual like Sarbanes-Oxley, SOC 2000 and all that fun stuff. So.
All right, so you're saying not all heroes wear capes. That's what I heard Joe say about the GRC.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things, so like I work with a lot, I do a lot of mentoring. I volunteer. Frankly, if anybody finds me at a conference and wants to pick my brain, I was mentoring literally cab drivers in between Black Hat and DEF CON, talking to me about getting to cyber, but I'm also part of I'm one of the mentors in the Women in Cyber program here inside of Cisco. And I have this bubble chart that I bring up, and it's this massive bubble chart of all the careers in cybersecurity, and it's huge. And I always go like GRC is a huge chunk of this chart, and it's not even just necessarily governance, risk, and compliance. It's the sub elements of governance, risk, and compliance based on are you in financial? So you might have PCI, you might have SOX, you might have NERC-FERC. You have so many sub elements of specializations. And I'm like, there's somebody at a job whose sole responsibility is PCI compliance and they probably have 10 colleagues that are international all over the world whose sole job is to do this. And they're working with an insane amount of data, and they have to make sense out of madness. I couldn't do it. Flat
Yeah,
out.
it's definitely not for everybody. I really do like structure and organization. I was a sysadmin and a software developer before I met cybersecurity, and I got into audit, and that's why I stayed on that path. But it really is it is boring, right? It can be very boring to people. I like it when you get to the end of the road and you have everything all beautifully organized and orchestrated, and you can expand and report. And for me, GRC, my favorite part of GRC is that you can build like strategic programs and like plug in stuff and, turn levers to reduce risk over here for this amount of budget and stuff like that. I don't know, it's very satisfying, but like, I will tell you, I have had to do incident response before, and there's nothing quite like the adrenaline dump of like, it's like, ooh, the game's afoot. Like when there's like something active happens and you're like, oh, like, it's like, I don't know. It's like a challenge,
It honestly, when you are on the hunt and you are sitting on something, and especially if it's hands-on keyboard for the adversary perspective, man, nothing beats it. Like it is as much combative as you're going to get over anything that you're going to get in cybersecurity. And it's intoxicating. It straight up is. Like even like CTFs to me are like that, because you're hunting for stuff and you're like, oh crap, I think I just found something. Oh wow, this might be a thing, and sometimes it doesn't pan out. That's normal, but when it does pan out, like it's a rush.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'll tell you, like that vibe he's talking about and catching a reverse shell. For me personally, those are like two things that are like the most satisfying thing in cybersecurity. We got a lot of questions flowing in here, Joe. Let's see. Epsilon Kleiner. Any advice for someone transitioning from ICS OT into cyber? So I guess they've done the hard part first. They've done the ICS OT thing. He's worked in PLC development, customer service. He's caught the cyber bug though. This is a great question, because you don't get it from this POV very often.
No, you don't. Congratulations, Gerald. You're right, dude. This person has absolutely done the hard work up front. So here's my suggestion in that front. First, fantastic. Like, so I started off as a sysadmin, and everything bled over into my cyber career. Like I got my MCSE and the CISSP and all that fun stuff, right? All that stuff has mattered for my time at Talos. If you're kind of getting bit by the cyber bug, the things that I would start to work on are your fundamentals. So your fundamentals are going to be, how does networking work? All right. How does it work? Now, and I don't mean like memorize the OSI model, although if you do, more power to you. That's great. But like, can you tell me how DNS works? Like, draw it out. If I give you a marker right now and I go, draw me what a request from a local machine to a root server, back to an authoritative server, back to the root server, back to you, and explain to me how the cache works at each level, right? Well, that means you need to know how domain naming system works, why there's a domain naming system. Like, you need to be able to fundamentally peel back the layers of this and explain it to me. If you can do that, right, or if you can explain to me the basics of TCP or IP or UDP, like you can really kind of, and I'm not saying you have to have encyclopedic dictionary-esque knowledge of these protocols, right? But that you have a firm foundation to start stacking your cybersecurity knowledge on, you will crush it, because you can then marry that with your extensive knowledge on programmable logic controllers, ladder logic, process control implementation, process control network engineering, any kind of process control engineering work, no matter who your vendor is, right? So like think like because like Siemens does, like S7 is different from like Rockwell Automation, so that the CLX line does not in any way operate the same way that Siemens does, which is different from Schweitzer, which is different from whomever like the vendor is, right? But you know how the sausage gets made at that point, right? And so I used to joke that if you've only seen one SCADA network, you've only seen one SCADA network, right? Because everyone builds their processes differently, right? So like a manufacturer is going to be different from utility, which is going to be different from another utility, which is going to be different from another. Like but they're all using the same tool sets, and they're all using the same, more or less, process control, right? And that's a huge leg up. That's fantastic. Normally it's the other way around. For me, it was, I'm a cyber guy. We're going to send you to some training to, you're going to go work on some Omron or, PLCs and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Sorry. My 8-year-old wanted me to buy him some Roblox or something. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. No.
Well,
so
some Roblox. Jeez.
I know. So turn it to the other direction. AP has been in GRC for a few years and wants to get into ICS/OT. So other side of the coin, Joe, what say you?
Oh, wow. I am not super qualified to answer this question because I never had to work GRC in the ICS/OT space. I will say this. The attention to detail really matters. And if you have trained that skill in financial GRC, I don't see a lot of roadblocks existing inside of a different like career space.
Yeah. And just
and I don't know if that's a great answer. I actually love to hear your take on that too.
Yeah, I was going to say, normally I'd like to interview guests because everybody hears me flap my gums all the time, but just for the sake of mentoring, because that's what we both enjoy doing. AP, all I would say is obviously the ICS/OT, you're going to have to learn those specific skills, as Joe just pointed out, that each network's different. But I think if you learn, and again, Joe, I might be wrong, but learn some technical elements like what Modbus is and how cyber physical systems work. You might even be able to. So sometimes you go to these villages that Joe was talking about earlier, and they have like these little cool Lego cities with like, not cyber physical, but like physical gates that open and close and crap like that. Like do something small and figure out how these little protocols work, get that little piece of technical stuff. But as far as like leveraging your GRC capabilities and financial services, number one, financial services is incredibly high stress. So guess what? When you're dealing with oil and gas and like people's utilities and stuff, and it's the middle of the winter and you got to keep the heat on, that's high stress. So you can convey that you've worked in high stress environments that would resonate there. On GRC, you need to be able to talk to people effectively, communicate at the right audience, communicate up to executives, communicate down to end users that aren't technical. So in the ICS/OT space, you're going to be talking to field engineers that don't want to talk to you, period, right? And they're their own band of people. And I mean that in the nicest way possible, but they're almost like, I feel like field engineers are like, if you've ever been on a boat, like been out to sea, the crew of the boat and how they operate, like sailors, that's kind of how I feel about that. So you need to be able to communicate effectively. And since you have that skill set, you'll be able to do that. Joe, any rebuttal now that I've just kind of like besmirched field engineers?
No. Hey, look, if the shoe fits, they should wear it. I'm just saying. You said something super important, and I firmly believe in this. So when I worked at my electric utility, I was a security architect, but I was the security practitioner in the room with executives. And my direct client was the vice president of information technology, who owned also all of the OT stuff for my utility, right? One of the things I had to do was translate technical stuff to non-technical people and I had to use the language they understood. That means the language of business, right? So I'm not talking about, I'm using like IT-ish words like product portfolios and things that are verbs and nouns and adjectives that are going to resonate because they're largely not technical people. So I need to make this make sense to them. And if their eyes start to glaze over, you've lost the audience and you're going to have a hard time. That's what I do inside of Talos right now. I talk to a lot of customers. I talk to a lot of folks that are like cyber adjacent to better kind of say it. And so I have to use when I'm talking to a board of directors, I am not drowning them in acronyms. I can't. I will lose them. And I've talked to boards of directors from like farming co-ops. You want to talk about the most untechnical people you've ever met in your life, right?
Yeah.
They're farmers, all right? They know but they know the language of risk and business very well. So doing your homework and using the right words with that audience is everything. It is everything to convey what you're trying to do about a threat or a risk or something that you're seeing that they should actually think about maybe investing in, or at least getting the right person in the room to help them execute something to reduce that risk and so on, so on, so on. But you have to know the right words to use. And that is a skill. Like you have to practice that. It does not come naturally because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, just because you can speak English or speak the native language of wherever it is doesn't mean you can communicate well. It just means you have the tools to communicate. And really quick, this just came to me. For anyone who's trying to like reconcile this, because we say this a lot, being able to speak and communicate effectively. One thing I would offer up is think about a doctor or a clinician speaking to you. They don't use clinical terms. They're not like, oh, you've got a lower hemorrhaging rheumatoid, flinge valve dip dang. They say you've broke your leg. Like they're communicating to you in language that you get because that's what you want to hear. You don't want to hear the clinical diagnosis of whatever it is that you're doing. You want to know, what is the impact? What does this mean to me? Can I walk? Do I need to go to surgery? Am I going to be, wheelchair bound or whatever? Right. So to me, like clinical staff have their own language as well, just like IT people have their own language. And we got to be mindful about how we communicate to all of them. Fun question coming in hot for you, Joe.
Lay it on me.
Anita wants to know, what's that board? I was actually wondering the same thing. Lay it on us.
Oh yeah. So like this was from a birthday party where we were throwing axes. And for the birthday, everybody signed it, including the coaches who were teaching us how to throw axes. And it was a lot of my coworkers who were with me. And I kind of keep it here because it's just a fun, cool thing to have, like from an axe throwing birthday party thing we did. And I don't know.
It's a great memory.
It's a great memory. It really is.
It is a great memory. I love it. Thanks so much. And a shout out to my son, Callan. So he went back in the house and then now he's communicating in group chat here, telling me to focus. So thank you, son. He's my executive producer for the show.
I love it.
Hey, do you like throwing it? I've never thrown an axe. I always feel like, I know that this is completely neurotic, but that's what I am. I am neurotic. I always feel like I'm going to throw it and the axe is going to spin around and hit me in the face, like as it's going away. Like, do you have any concern as you're throwing axes?
No, but now I do. Thanks. Cool. Way to ruin my axe throwing. I'm like,
you just like take the board and throw it away.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, I was completely nope. Thanks.
Okay. Well, I'm glad. I'm probably over analyzing it. It's just the same thing as like doing a backflip and hitting the diving board, which has never happened. And I've done many flips off the diving board.
Hard pass.
On backflips?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm a lazy river kind of guy.
Oh my God, lazy rivers are great. I
Eat
love
margaritas and just let me sit in a tube and soak up some rays, man.
I haven't done a lazy river in a while. Growing up where you did, I mean, is the Mississippi cut through there?
No, Mississippi is way over on the western side of well, no, it splits parts of the state. It was
in that Alabama space, but
so for Gulf Coast living, man, it's all sandy beaches and not even really surfing because the waves aren't there. It's just drinking Boone's Farm and sitting in the creek or just going down to the beach and getting skin cancer. That's about it.
I love it. So, dude, I'm actually curious. You have traveled quite a bit in your career. I haven't really traveled. I've traveled some, but not to like Europe or anything like that. Is there any kind of interesting or unusual cuisine or cultural things that you've encountered that
Oh
are
God, yeah. Ukrainian food is the best because they have so much like other influences. So you can get Georgian food there. I love like Georgian rice pilaf is like it is just next level. Eating rice pilaf out of an actual black cauldron has got to be one of the better culinary experiences of my life. Um, uh,
okay?
they have so many great cultural influences. Let's see. It's probably my favorite because it's such a melting pot of just other styles of like Polish food. Of course, Ukrainian nalivka, which is basically their version of moonshine, but it's very flavorful and dangerous as shit, is what it is.
Okay.
Then what else? Gosh, I've been a lot of places.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying give me the best you've ever had. It's just sometimes people
Oh,
are
I
unaware.
got one for you. I got one for you. I got one for you. All right. When this hellish war is over, there's a restaurant in Kiev. It is underneath Maidan Square. All right. So there's like a mall. So Maidan Square is like their 9/11 monument. Like it's a sacred place to them. And underneath that place is it's kind of like a mall, but it's a very small one, right? And there is a floor that only stops at this amazing gift shop down there that all locally made Ukrainian stuff. I've got stuff from there. It's beautiful. On the back of the wall, on this concrete wall, is a QR code. If you scan the QR code, it starts you kind of on a scavenger hunt, and it will lead you to a passphrase. And if you give that passphrase to the cashier, they hit a button, and the wall moves, and there's a restaurant behind that wall. And that restaurant is called The Last Barricade. All right.
Okay.
It is a museum/restaurant. So for the history nerds in the room, in 2014, you had the Revolution of Dignity in Ukraine, where the pro-democracy people ran the pro-Russian people out of the country on a rail, right?
Yeah.
The president had to flee the country and everything. But it was bloody. Like people died. Like a lot of people died during that at Maidan Square. So there are memorials all over Maidan Square. It is truly sacred ground to the Ukrainians. And when you go there, they actually put you on like a little moving cart, and they will show you artifacts from the Revolution of Dignity. And they, they want you to understand what this was and what this meant. It's not just a restaurant, right? And the food there is some of the best I've had in the world. They only use locally made and sourced Ukrainian vegetables and meats and liquors. Everything is made Ukrainian. They only speak Ukrainian there. Ukrainian is not Russian. They are two very distinct languages. The Cyrillic does give some similarities, but that's about it. When this war is over, I'm going to go back to the Last Barricade, and I'm going to buy everyone in that restaurant a drink on my dime because I miss the food there. I've eaten there twice, and I'll eat there every damn time I go. By the way, the passphrase, I won't tell you how to say it in Ukrainian, but the passphrase is, "If you fight, you will win," which is from a very famous Ukrainian poet named Taras, which is a very Ukrainian name, Taras. If you say that, that's the passphrase. But I'll let you look up how to say it.
That's interesting. That's like really cool. Like the scavenger hunt piece of it, the fact that it's like hidden behind a wall, like there's a button, that makes it really interesting. Plus, like even that passphrase is like very sobering, right? Because I mean, it's almost like a encapsulation of like what the whole experience, like almost the rally cry for the whole experience.
Favorite food spot in Baltimore, Sierra Montgomery. There's so many of them. Tagliata's in Baltimore is great. There is a speakeasy that's hidden there called the Elk Room. Sierra, you need to go to it. It it's a door that's unmarked. You would walk by it and not know it. It's one of the most amazing speakeasy jazz clubs I've ever been to in my life. So Tagliata's is really good. Great Italian food. Little Italy is right there. Long history of Italian food. But there's so many places inside of Baltimore. If you want the pure Baltimore experience, find you a Chaps Pit Beef. Pit Beef is like a Baltimore thing. Try
Pit
that
beef,
out.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that. I don't get to Baltimore too often. But when I do, it's like, I don't know anyone in anywhere to go. So I guess now I know Joe Marshall and Mick Baccio, right? So
Yeah. Mick and I will take you out on the town, my brother. Like and Mick probably knows, he's more of a foodie than I am. He knows amazing places down there. Like, we got you, fam. Like, come break bread with us sometime. We got you, pal.
I got to do an East Coast trip, dude. There's like some people in Virginia that I got to talk to, some people in Quantico I got to talk to. Just so you know, James McQuiggan sent me a picture of himself just to my phone to share with you. Specifically, you'll know what he's holding there, Joe. So he's got the ISAC coin there.
Oh yeah, my beer ISAC homie. Heck yeah, James.
He's giving you that. Here we go. We zoom in on it. There we go.
Love
So
it.
laying it out for you.
Yeah, there's no Waffle Houses in Baltimore. I do regret to say that, though. So, like, it's not the best cuisine, and I can't get hash brown, smothered, covered, chunked. But yeah, we'll get you some.
That's pretty good. I do like biscuits covered in sausage gravy. Now that I've moved to the South and like got introduced to that,
you can't put it down, man. There's no way.
It's so good. It is wicked good.
When I go home to the South, I bring Eli Lilly white flour back home with me because they have better gluten in there when I make buttermilk biscuits, and I get better biscuits with Southern flour. It's like I'm smuggling drugs. It's crazy.
That's like you got it like buried in like your fuel tank of your truck. So are you baking a lot? You cooking? You like cooking?
Yeah, no, like if I want staples from home, I'm gonna have to make them myself, man. I can't get decent sweet tea up here. I can't get Yankees have ruined Southern cuisine, so I got to do it myself, man, or go home.
Or go home. Yeah, I guess I could see the benefit of one side over the other. So we're getting close to the end of the show, but Joe does he does a lot for the community. He does a lot to like fill his cups, if you will, on mentoring and speaking and engagement. He's also goes to a million conferences all over the place. Joe, what do you have coming up? Like, do you have any like projects you're working on that you like to share? It could be work related or personal. It doesn't have to be like a push for that, or conferences people might be able to high five you at.
Sure. So I'll be at the NGO ISAC conference in December, running Backdoors and Breaches. We're actually taking we're officializing our Backdoors and Breaches expansion. It's going to be off the Black Hills Information Security website. I actually have the spreadsheet open right now. So we're doing stuff to pay it forward to communities that don't have a strong cybersecurity budget right now to help them be better. And frankly, a card game is the cheapest way to do it. You saw me at Black Hat.
Can I just background that really quick?
Yeah, go nuts, man.
So at Black Hat this year, I was talking to Cisco, and they're like, "Oh, hey, would you want to come up and see this tabletop exercise, event going on?" And I'm like, "Sure, that'll be cool." I have no idea. All I knew is what I was just told. Okay, so I go up to like the 17th floor of one of these hotels, and I walk down this long hall to the end of the hall because it's always the end rooms that have like the big suite stuff. And the door opens, and it's like almost like Beauty and the Beast, where the door opens and it's like, be our guest. Like I open it up and it's just like Joe Marshall hosting like 8 people at a bar top table with a huge Backdoors and Breaches play mat down. And Joe's just like, crafting a spell here about this like outrageous incident. You're just short of having like a staff and a wizard hat as like a complete dungeon master. And the players were completely enraptured. And I walked in and I'm like, oh my God, Joe. And then Joe breaks character for like 1 second. He's like, what's up, Jerry? And then he goes right back into like crushing it, doing this tabletop exercise. So it was really, really a wonderful experience. So Joe's doing these Backdoors and Breaches, and he was highlighting the official expansion, which is it OTICS expansion? Is that it?
No. So this was for non-governmental organizations. So like, which have extremely unique cybersecurity problems. Like, your digital forensics team is arrested because they made a social media post that another government didn't like, or like things that are incredibly unique to that space. And so we did a sort of unofficial expansion, which is fine because it's open source, but we actually want to merge it into the official Black Hills ecosystem of expansions that you can access. So like I do a lot of work outside of OTICS, and one of the communities that I'm extremely privileged and happy to support are NGOs. And you would know a lot of these places. I've run into so many, like World Central Kitchen or Save the Children or World Wildlife Federation. These are amazing places with strong humanitarian civil society missions. And a lot of the smaller NGOs, they have no money for cybersecurity. They have no budget. So if a card game can help give them a better security vocabulary, they have 100% of my time all the time. I'll do what I can to help them and pay it forward. I am blessed and privileged to sit where I sit and do what I do. And I do what I can to pay it forward for them. And so we made with the help of NetHope and some other places, we made a really great expansion for it. And now we're formalizing it, getting it incorporated into Black Hills. So you'll be able to buy it off their website. You'll be able to do all kinds of stuff.
That's awesome. All right. So official NGO expansion, if you're trying to collect them all like Pokemon cards. Joe will be at several conferences. Now, one conference that Joe may not be at, but I do want to tell Joe about it because I don't know if you even know this, Joe, is our conference, Simply CyberCon. So this is our third year, Joe. And James McQuiggan is actually one of the MCs of the two talk tracks, like, you know, the guy who like runs the room. November 2nd and 3rd. So I know it's really late in the schedule for you to potentially be involved this year, but if you want to be, you can. But there's always next year, Joe, when we put this on every year. I could even see so we have two talk tracks, and then we have a big chill out room that's going to have like a Mario Kart thing and like Lockpick Village and stuff. But we're going to have like a pop-up workshop space, a backdoors and breaches, activity would fit perfectly in there. Just saying. I don't know if you can get work to send you, but
I'm gonna have to sweet talk my boss. Maybe we're pretty cooked on OpEx right now, but there is a Waffle House, they're saying, right by it, and
oh, dude, you can see the Waffle House from the hotel that we're hosting it.
You guys, why? You guys. I'm gonna have to be persuasive.
All right. I mean, that would be insane. That would be so cool. If you want, I can help you. I can work with you to help craft a reason for you to be there that is more than just Joe attending. You know what I mean? That would be cool. This was a bit of a shot in the dark, but like, it would be sick if you were there. Joe Marshall, guys, you guys seen him for the last hour. He's amazing. So
let me see if I can work my powers of persuasion on my leadership.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't even have to pay me. They just give me Waffle House. I'll tell my boss. So you know what? Actually, so I had a meeting with my boss today. We were doing our sync up and stuff, and I told her that she should fire me immediately because I'm living my dream of playing cybersecurity Dungeons and Dragons, and it's a scam, and I'm scamming you because you're letting me do this, and you're paying me to do it. And if you'd have told 14-year-old Joe that I'd be doing this for a living as one of the things I do, then I would have not believed me. So yeah.
No, I love it. I love it. It is so true how fun it is to really enjoy your job. I mean, this takes us full circle back to what we were talking about at the beginning of cybersecurity as a lifestyle and really enjoying it. 100%, dude, 100%. I was going to bring up a map and show you where the hotel was and where the Waffle House, like you can literally see it. Like you can almost zoom in all the way on Google Earth and see the two of them in the same screenshot. So
if I ever win the lottery, I'm building one into my mansion. Like there will be signs I've won the lottery. I'm going to have my own personal Waffle House. I swear to God, it's going to happen.
Let me ask you, like, really quick before we end, like, there's this, like, I've heard people say this theory, like if the Waffle in the South, we have a lot of hurricanes, right? But if the Waffle House is still open, it's not a big deal. When the Waffle House closes, at least in Charleston, and casually Joseph, who lives around here, fact check me on this. The rule of thumb is if Waffle House closes, you evacuate. And if Waffle House does not close, you do not evacuate.
Yeah. So for my business continuity and disaster recovery people in the room, pay attention because this is real. All right. So there is a thing. It's called the FEMA Waffle House Index. If the Waffle Houses are on what they call a red status, which means they're open but with limited menu because all Waffle Houses use gas grills. They're not electric. That means they can make limited things on their menu, right? For if they're shut down, you should not be there because they do not close ever. All right. But for my business continuity disaster recovery people, they have an amazing system in that company for keeping them open for logistics, supply chain. They have jump staff. So like they want the Waffle House employees to go be with their families. They'll bring in out of state staff to man the Waffle House so people can be with their families during the disaster to take care of things, right? They'll put you up in a hotel. They even give their managers a car stipend to own 4-wheel drive vehicles so that they can get to work through hurricanes, snowstorms, whatever the case may be. Like
Wow.
Waffle House is they go hard. They go very, very hard. Like they are a case study for supply chain, business management, and disaster recovery. Like they're amazing.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I did not know that. That's like some bonus trivia for the Simply Cyber community here as we round out.
Yep.
Man, this has been good. So Joe, any final thoughts for the community as we round down here?
Absolutely. Hey, I wrote this newsletter today. If you haven't had a chance to read it, please go read it. But don't think of necessarily yourself. Show that to someone in your career space to help them maybe think of healthier habits, and just be there for others. Right? Just put the phone down and just be present for others and pay your kindnesses and blessings forward to others, because you could be a big help to others. And I would love to see I don't know if you guys have paid attention to the news lately. I try not to. Not a tremendous amount of positivity going around right now. Mm-hmm. So find your blessings where you can and just be kind to others and help them along. That's all I want.
Sage wisdom. I just dropped a link to that blog post here in chat for everybody to go look at. Joe Marshall has been our guest. Wonderful human, just a wonderful human, yes. Joe. Like I really, really appreciate you. Shout out to all of you Simply Cyber community members. I hope you got value from this. I swear to you, if you have a chance to meet Joe in person, it's an absolute must do, like high five, handshake, whatever you got to do. And if you can get a beer with him or something, that's even better. No doubt.
I'm cheap, man. Waffle House and beer is all I need.
Waffle House and beer. Well, you know what? I can promise you we'll have both of those at Simply CyberCon. I promise you. All right, guys. Joe, thanks so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Everybody else, we'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern time for the daily cyber threat brief per usual. I'm Jerry. He's Joe. He's Joe because I was mirrored image. Until next time, y'all, stay secure.
Bye, y'all.